Well, hello and welcome to the very first episode of Mason Street Retirement Insights. I'm Casey Biddy, and I am so excited to be here with financial advisor Sean Mason, president of Mason Street Wealth Management right here in Fresno. And he is going to be here every single week to break down today's biggest retirement worries and headlines for us. Sean, happy Saturday. How you feeling?
Hey, Casey, I'm doing great. I'm really excited about this show. I love hanging out with the community.
I'm so excited to be doing this show, too. I cannot wait to get into it. You've actually been doing this for a while now on your Mason Street Retirement Insights podcast, which for our listeners today, you can always find us anywhere that you get your favorite podcasts. But we are excited to bring Sean's fantastic insight to the Fresno airwaves today. So thank you so much for joining us. And as we are kicking off the show, we want to make sure that you've got our contact info handy. 559-847-0039 is our phone number. And today we are offering an introductory retirement planning assessment to our first 5 callers. This is an offer exclusive to our radio listeners. And I just want to emphasize there's no obligation attached to this. This is just a conversation, a chance for you to get your questions answered. So go ahead, give us a call, claim your spot. That number again to reach us is 559-847-0039. One more time for you so you can write it down, 559-847-0039. Or you can always head to masonstreetwealthmanagement.com, and it's got all the resources that you need to get connected with us. All right, Sean, let's just dive right in here. As we are kicking off this show, I really want our listeners to get to know you and how you came to do what you do. So can you talk to us about what inspired you to become a financial advisor and what really drew you to this industry in the first place?
Yeah, I can. In fact, I can't believe it's been 24 years, and I came into the industry really by necessity, and I'm thankful for it, and I attribute it to my mom. I'll never forget, I'm sitting in her dining room at the table, and she had made us some lunch. It's raining that day, and I look at her, and I see that her eyes are tearing up, and she's got a little tear coming out, and I ask her what is troubling her, and she says that I'm just not sure I can do this. And I asked her, what do you mean by this? What is that? What are you thinking about? And she said, I don't know if I can retire. I don't know if I have enough money. I don't know how to start Social Security and how to work with Medicare. I don't know all these things. And in a way, she seemed a little frustrated, but she sounded really scared. And I had that feeling that, look, Mom, we're going to be a team in this, and we're going to work it together, and I'm going to be helping you. And I pondered that statement later that day, and I recognized that I have no idea. I have no clue what's entailed going into retirement. I knew investing. I've been investing my own money for years so I could help her with that, but I wasn't sure how it all came together. And so I started to researching, and the more and more that I researched, I recognized that I need a pro. There is a lot of elements. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that are going to affect other pieces to the puzzle. And so I started to look for and started interviewing advisors. And I quickly found that there were not advisors, and we're talking 25 plus years ago. There was no advisors that were in business to help people transition from working years into retirement years, or even being in retirement years.
Yeah.
And so understanding that I wasn't going to get any professional help, I just had to start doing the work myself, really started to dig in and define what each of these elements are and how they interact together, and started helping my mom with it. And then what had happened is I had a lot of friends, and they were coming to me about their own parents. And so I started working with their own parents, not as a business, just to be a help. And really started to figure out that there are so many people out there that are feeling this way and that are feeling the way that my mom is. And so that really became the reasoning for me to get into the business and to really, legitimize myself, get all the licenses, understand all the intricacies so that I could start helping people and really making a difference in their lives. And wow, what a experience it's been. It's been just a great experience.
Well, that is so special, Sean. I love hearing people's origin stories and their why, so to say. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And it sounds like at the foundation of this, you want to help people. And I know since you've started Mason Street Wealth Management, you've helped so many countless clients retire with confidence. So I want to talk a little bit more about your business. I know you guys can help with so many things when it comes to financial and retirement planning. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about the things that you help individuals and families with and what your specialty is when it comes to serving your clients.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so, we're really here to help families gain the confidence. So often we hear from families, 5 years ago, 5 years from retirement, we were so excited and we were dreaming and we're thinking about all the things that we wanted to do, travel and grandkids and all the relationships that we wanted to enhance, the causes that we wanted to contribute to. And then now they're 2 years from retirement and now it's starting to get nervy. They're starting to get nervous. They're starting to get a little stressed out. That's because the closer that we get, the more real it becomes and the more they recognize that maybe they're not as prepared as they should be. And so we're really here to make sure that they get the confidence in knowing that they're going to have that financial means to live the lifestyle and the quality of life they expect so that nobody has to feel like my mom felt. So, and it takes an extraordinary team to make that happen. I'm very fortunate to have that. We take a comprehensive account of who you are, what's important to you, and what you're wanting to accomplish, and what your concerns are. And then we have a specific planning process that we've used to formulate a comprehensive retirement plan. Then we walk through the retirement journey with you. Once we have that plan built, now it's all about implementation. Things are going to change in life through the years. We're going to have to pivot. We're going to have to readjust. So we're going to walk with you through that retirement journey. And ultimately, we feel like we're working with the kids or whoever will take over your legacy.
Well, I love that. Everybody deserves a plan. Everybody deserves to have that confidence going into their retirement. So if you're listening and you are thinking that you may need some help in that department, remember, if you're one of our first 5 callers today, we will get you on the calendar for an introductory retirement planning assessment with Sean. Remember, there's no obligation here, but spots are limited. So let's get yours secured now. 559-847-0039 is how you reach us. One more time for you. That's 559-847-0039. Or you can reach us anytime at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. All right, Sean, let's get into some retirement chat, shall we?
Yes, let's go.
All right, so JP Morgan did a study about how people spend that I was looking at this week and how they don't spend their money in retirement. They found people who got 20 to 40% of their income from a pension or a pension-like source spent $50,000 a year. But if they received 60 to 80% from pension-like income, they spent even more, about $71,000 a year. So wanted to get your thoughts on this, Sean. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's such a great question. It's a major concept. As different as we all are, we all share in a common goal, believe it or not. And that common goal is we're all really we're all really trying to attain, when it all boils down, to get as many spendable dollars out of our resource as possible throughout our lifetime, spendable being the main key, throughout our lifetime, and then to pass whatever's left, making sure that it goes to who we love and the people that we care about as opposed to who we don't, which for most of us is going to be the government in the form of taxes. There are multiple strategies with all having different levels of risk that we can use. We have heard over and over and over financial professionals tell us that we're financially prudent if we will set ourselves up to take 4 to 5% a year out of our accounts. We'll never run out of money. And that is an absolute myth. We're really hoping for the market to take care of us in that situation. Sequence of returns, the order in which the rates of return each year come in the market are going to affect that strategy. So there's a lot of risk to it. And most of the people that I work for, most of the people that come into my office, they're not trying to set themselves up with risk. They're looking for certainty. Jeff and Beth came into my office, a couple weeks ago, and one of their major concerns was, how are we going to get the resources that we have transitioned into income so it's just like we were working? And so we sat down, we went through our planning process, and at the end of that, they felt that confidence, they felt that peace of mind that they were going to have certainty and have that confidence that their life is going to be the way that they expected it to be, and then the income would keep coming in because they knew exactly what that strategy looked like. It's all about risk-based income planning, and that'll determine the strategy that you will use to give yourself that confidence and peace of mind.
Well, thank goodness they incorporated the help of a professional, yourself, to help walk them through this process and to give them that confidence of that paycheck going into retirement. Now, if you're listening and you don't have a pension, you're definitely not alone. But how do you create that same sense of security and freedom to spend without worrying about outliving your money? And that's exactly what Sean and his team help their clients with at Mason Street Wealth Management. Want to remind you that our first 5 callers today will receive an introductory retirement planning assessment. 559-847-0039 is how you reach us, and we'll sit down with you, review your current situation, and you can explore what a customized income plan could look like for you. That number to reach us again is 559-847-0039, or you can always visit us at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com to learn more. All right, Sean, the AARP, formerly known as the American Association of Retired Persons, has more than 38 million members. So what are they most concerned about? Well, here is CEO Dr. Minta Jordan on CBS Sunday Morning recently. Take a listen to what she had to say.
People are living longer, they're staying in the workforce longer, and so the needs are changing, but the needs are still urgent. Our members are most worried about Medicare, Social Security, and family caregiving. We're hearing more and more from people who are in the sandwich generation, taking care of younger children, taking care of their aging parents, and the financial hardships that can bring.
But Sean, isn't there a more basic fear underlying these concerns? The am I going to run out of money in retirement question? How do you help your clients move from that fear to confidence?
Well, and that's a great question, Casey. And I'm not sure I don't run into a lot of 50 and 60-year-olds that are taking care of young kids, but I do run into a lot of the people that come into my office that are experiencing taking care of their parents. But second to, I don't know what I don't know, and among many others, running out of money is the biggest concern for many people transitioning or into or already in retirement, which causes stress and anxiety. As is the case with most financial concerns, gaining clarity in your financial situation, understanding how what you're doing now is going to affect you in the future is the answer. And the solution is to formulate a comprehensive financial plan, which will give you that clarity and identify any adjustments you need to make before it's too late. That's the key. People come in here and they say, I wish I would have done this 10 years ago. It's all about right now. It's starting to start this process right now, and let's get into and get clarity in what's going on with your situation right now and identify anything that we need to adjust before it's too late. Part of running out of money too early, part of that whole fear and part of that stress is what happens when I get to an age where I start experiencing older age medical care. Jim and Carrie came in. They were in my office. Karen kind of explained how she was experiencing caregiving. She was caring for her parents. She was experiencing the burden. If you've ever read any studies show that people that are in a caregiving position that they didn't necessarily sign up for really affects their quality of life. And in some cases, you've seen that it can really reduce the longevity of life. So often people come into my office and I ask them, how do you feel about those older age Medicare situations? And a lot of people call that long-term care. How are we going to handle a long-term care situation if it were to come? And so many people will say, my children will take care of me. And I just want them to be very clear on what a burden it is on the children and how it affects their quality of life. But then other people to the other extreme will say, look, I wouldn't let my kids touch me. I'm certainly not going to live with them. What are they really saying? They're really saying they don't want to be that burden. So there's many strategies that we can look at. It's different for every scenario, but there is a way to plan that out and to make sure that the funding of lifestyle can continue to happen through life as expected. And then when we get to that position to where we need additional care, we've got that planned out and these resources will be available.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've experienced with both of my husband's parents. And hindsight is 2020. We look at each other and we say all the time, we wish there was a plan set in place for this. So if this is resonating with you, if this is something that you think you need some assistance with, the good news is Sean and his team are here to help. 559-847-0039 is how you reach us. And we want to remind you that our first 5 callers today will receive that introductory retirement planning assessment. Remember, there's no obligation here, no pressure, no judgment. This is just a conversation, but spots will fill up. So give us a call. Let's lock yours in. That number again is 559-847-0039. One more time, 559-847-0039. Or you can find us online anytime at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. Sean, thank you so much for sharing your incredible insight with us today. That is going to do it for this week's episode of Mason Street Retirement Insights, but we will see you back here next week, same time, same place, for more conversation and advice from our resident finance man, Sean Mason of Mason Street Wealth Management. And with that, Sean, I will give you the last word.
Casey, that was a lot of fun. I'm really excited about this show. Can't wait till next week to get with the community. I want you to know that I care about your success. My team cares about your success. And through the years, we understand clearly how important planning is, and we're very passionate about that. I want you to come in, have a conversation with us. Let's discuss your current situation, and we'll help you determine what level of planning your situation deserves. But until then, have a great day, have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.